Hey guys, how's it going? I know, gaps are the story of my life. Sorry. But anyways, without wasting any time, let's talk about Kalank. Straight away, I'll tell you guys that I watched the movie 24 hours after release, so my expectations had already kind of been dampened by the negative reviews. I went in with very low expectations. It was very simple. Please be better than Thugs of Hindustan and Race 3. That's it. You'll be glad to know that Kalank is nowhere near these two movies. It's miles ahead. Kalank is not a film without flaws. It has many. But overall, I found it to be a very enjoyable film. Talking about the basic storyline, the movie focuses on Roop, played by Alia Bhatt, who gets married to Dev, played by Aditya Roy Kapoor, and the marriage is arranged by Dev's dying wife Satya, played by Sonakshi Sinha. Unhappy with her marital situation, Roop begins to visit Hira Mandi, and this is where she meets Zafar, played by Varun Dhawan. We'll leave the story at that to avoid any spoilers. Okay, so let's talk about the positives first. Number one, the songs are a visual treat. First Class is entertainment defined. Ghar More Pardesiya is just stunning to watch on the big screen. And Tabaa Ho Gaye is on a different level. Despite subpar lyrics and fairly mediocre dancing, Madhuri elevates this song to a completely different level and pretty much reduces you to tears while watching it. And the second major positive are the performances. The performances are just next level. I mean, every role and every character manages to evoke some extreme emotions in the viewer, other than one, but we'll get to that later. So I do feel like the entire cast did an incredible job with this movie. I did have my favorites, of course, but overall, I'll just say the cast was great, acting was great. Of course, there are other positives as well. You watch the movie, and I found the movie to be very enjoyable. It was fun, it was colorful, it had great sets. But let's talk about the negatives. Oh my goodness, who was the editor of this movie? I did not look it up, and I don't really have any desire to because the editing was choppy. This movie was all over the place with editing. I mean, 30 minutes into the movie, we suddenly see a scene where Alia is narrating the movie. Where was she for the past 30 minutes? It was like they forgot to include her at the beginning of the movie. The scenes would cut in and out at very strange moments. For example, Varun is literally in mid-sentence when the Kalank title song begins. Even the editing aside, the movie lacked a proper flow. It just did not flow well. You felt like transitions were just very choppy and the flow of the film itself was choppy. Another negative is that the sets were grand. The sets were beautiful, but they looked like sets. It did not look authentic in the desire to be grand. The sets ended up coming off as unrealistic. I love films and shows based on the partition, mostly because I find the history of it all very fascinating. Sorry. So whether it be Pakistani dramas like Angan and Dastan, or Bollywood films like Pinjar, 1947 Earth, 1942 A Love Story, what all of these shows and movies have in common is that they've paid attention to detail and they've transported their viewer into that era, so you feel like you are living that time period. Kalank's biggest flaw for me was that you feel like it's out of place for the time period. Whether it's something as simple as Varun Dhawan singing Baki Sab First Class Hai, which I doubt First Class is something that was said in 1946. Or whether it's people just being very open-minded towards married women having affairs, it's all just very out of place. Keeping with that, there is something that bothered me about the movie, and that was the character of Abdul, played by Kunal Khemu. He did a great job, but what I wanted to say was that I understand that the movie took place in Lahore, but there were riots happening from both sides, whether it was Muslims or Hindus. So where were the Hindu riots? Where were the Hindu mobs? They only showed the Muslim mobs. And I think that's something that's a little unpalatable for me, because knowing what happened during the partition, it just kind of casts a negative light on Muslims at a time where I feel like Muslims are already cast in a negative light. I'm not trying to make this political or religious, but I do think that there could have been a more balanced viewpoint in this movie. Definitely. So the last real negative I want to talk about has to do with roles. And so let's just kind of talk about the role and acting side by side. So the main character of the film is Roop, played by Alia Bhatt. I want to say she is in almost every scene. When you have a character like that, it's really important to make the character likable. The biggest problem with Alia's character is that she is not likable. This has nothing to do with Alia Bhatt's performance. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter celebrating, people who obviously are not Alia Bhatt fans, celebrating, saying, oh, thank goodness people are finally saying she's not a good actress. That's not true. I honestly believe that Alia Bhatt is probably the best actress we have in Bollywood right now. Even when a great actress is given a half-baked role, she can only do so much with it. And that's what I feel happened here. The character of Roop is simply not likable. You cannot justify her actions. So despite Alia giving the character her all and putting in her best effort and giving a good performance, you're never able to feel for Roop. Roop basically made a choice. She was not a victim of circumstance. She made a choice, and she was given the option to make a choice. And then she goes about the rest of the movie blaming everybody else and being rude to everybody else for her own choices. There's a part where Sonakshi's character tells her, you made the choice. And that's literally what everybody in the audience is thinking is, you made the choice. Why are you behaving like this? Roop is essentially a married woman, and instead of working on her marriage, she jumps to Hira Mandi and begins a flirtation with Zafar, and you never quite understand what her problem is. Her entire rationale doesn't make sense, and for me, personally, that's the biggest flaw of the entire movie, is that I'm unable to connect with the lead character. It's very much like Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna, throwback to that, where I was unable to connect with Shah Rukh Khan and Rani Mukherjee's characters, which made the entire movie go downhill for me, because if I didn't sympathize with them, I couldn't root for them. That being said, I just want to clarify that Alia Bhatt did a great job. She really looked beautiful. Her entry was beautiful. The song was really cute. She danced well. She looked so pretty. She acted really well in the movie. It's not her fault the character wasn't written well. Varun Dhawan is so good in this movie. You really feel for him. You cry with him. Initially, he comes off as this arrogant jerk, but then as the movie progresses, his character is written so well, and you really, really begin to feel for him emotionally. You really do feel for Dev and Satya, so Aditya Roy Kapoor and Sonakshi Sinha. They make a beautiful pair, and they act really well. They're really natural. They look good together, and they both have a very classy demeanor about them in their roles in this movie. That really is a special appearance. He has about maybe 5 or 6 scenes. Sanjay Dutt plays the role of Balaraj, and you definitely feel for him, but I wouldn't say it's in a good way. He's definitely a gray character, as are most of the characters in the movie. Let's get to my favorite, Madhuri. If you know, I'm like such a big Madhuri fan. I've been a fan since I was, 5 years old. I've always loved her. My love for dance comes from Madhuri. She's just my favorite. But in this movie, and no, it's not biased, I really feel like she had the best role. It's not the longest role. She maybe has 30 minutes worth of screen time, if even. But her role is the one that made the most impact with me. It had the most depth. It had the most feeling. She's not a perfect character. She's a gray character. She has flaws. She's done bad things. She's done good things. She's done a lot of bad things. But you feel for her plight. You feel for her problems. You feel for her situation. And her performance in Tabaa Ho Gaye literally almost like rips you apart. You feel so bad for her. So yeah, if you're a Madhuri fan, you definitely want to watch this movie. She did a really great job. actors like Hiten Tejwani, who was so great to see on screen. I liked seeing him in a Bollywood movie, even if it was a very small character, but he was refreshing to watch. I love him. Then also there was Kunal Khemu, who I mentioned already, as Abdul. He did a great job. He really was a great negative character, and you could see his rationale for why he was doing what he was doing. I only wish it had been a more balanced situation. That's the only complaint I had. But he did a great job. I hope I haven't been rambling for too long. My overall opinion of Kalank is that it is a flawed movie. It's not perfect. I'm not claiming it's a perfect movie. It's not the next Sholay. It's not the next Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge. It's not an epic masterpiece. It has flaws. And I understand if people didn't like it, I understand why. It was a visual treat. It's a film made on a grand scale. It does feel very grand. It has amazing actors in it. It has amazing performances in it. And for me, despite the flaws, I still really enjoyed the movie. So what I would say in conclusion is that even if people are giving a film a negative review, don't take that review as gospel. A lot of people on Twitter, a lot of my friends, a lot of people I spoke to did not like the movie, and I did feel very let down. I felt disappointed going into the movie, and I ended up liking it. If you're interested in watching the movie, watch it for yourself. Don't listen to reviews. Don't listen to other people's opinions. If I don't like something, you might like it. If you don't like something, I might like it. Make up your own mind. If for nothing else, Kalank is the most grand Bollywood film we have this year. It's the first major multi-starrer in years. So it's definitely worth a watch. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!